I said, what is 1 plus 2? We went over this earlier, so you're going to make me go over it again? Sit your ass. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel today. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If you're not new to my channel and you still haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Alright, please subscribe. Today's video is going to be about the time that I got fired for having a weapon on campus, okay? Yes, I'm savage. Just kidding. Alright, they got me up. So today's video is going to be about that, the time that I lost my job due to having a weapon on campus. So we're going to get right into the video with no further ado. Alright, so let's get started with the story. Back in 2016, I got a job as an aftercare school counselor. Aftercare counselor. Alright, I always wanted to work with kids because I just have a passion for kids. Like, working with children to me is like one of the only career paths that I ever felt like a purpose in, because you're actually impacting lives. Like, lives are real. You know what I mean? Like, you're really doing something in that category. You know what I mean? So, and I also feel like you can shape the future the best by working with the future, literally. The kids are the future. Whitney Houston. All right, so the kids are the future, literally. So I just love kids. I love how pure they are and how formable they are. Like, they're young, they're impressionable. You can make them into amazing people by being that role model. Y'all saw that disrespectful ass fly? For them, and teaching them and implementing things in them and instilling things in them at a young age. All right? So I had a group of first graders back in 2016. I love them to this day. I still remember all their names. I love them. Like, I even went back to visit them a few times because I love them. So I had this group, okay? Our group was named the Bears. And, oh, I miss them. But yeah, so it wasn't for the money at all. Like, the money wasn't anything. I had a true passion for these kids. I used to teach them how to meditate because I know that kids have a real life at home where, you know, a lot of real life troubles could be going on. So I wanted our aftercare group to be their safe space. Every day after homework, we had meditation time where I implemented in them and told them that nothing else mattered. Anything that happened at the school day that day didn't matter. Anything that's happening at home doesn't matter. Right now, we are in the moment. We are relaxing. We are together, and we are going to just clear our mind and relax. They loved it. Loved it. The craziest children that don't want to stay still, they loved it. Okay, because I explained to them what we were doing. I wasn't making it like a nap time. One thing that I do that makes my bond with children special is the fact that I treat them like a human being. I speak to them like a person. I don't speak to them like a child. Like, when you speak to kids like a child, they know you're speaking to them as if they're lower or don't understand or whatever. You know what I mean? So I speak to kids in a way that I speak to anybody, obviously not without foul language and all that, but it's like I speak to them like a person, you know? Like, I see you, you see me, sit your ass down. Just kidding. I don't talk like that. You know what I mean? Like, treating them like people, okay? So that is what formed my connection with them so strong, because they felt like I was their friend. They felt like I was their older sister, and they respected me. It's not like, oh, talk to me crazy like I'm your little friend. It wasn't like that, all right? It was a respect. Like, they looked up to me. You know what I mean? And I was so proud of that position. Like, my little $500 check every 2 weeks, but I was so proud of what I was building with these children, teaching them meditation, teaching them real life things that they could grow up and use their whole life. You know what I mean? I wasn't just trying to be a counselor. I was trying to be an impact on these children. This is why this job meant so much to me. Look at me venting and ranting about this job instead of telling you how I got fired with that weapon, all right? So pretty much, I'm just explaining my bond to these children so that you can understand how getting fired affected me in this story time, all right? Like, I made that group of mine a family. You know what I mean? We were all brothers and sisters. We were a family. We love each other. We hug. We meditate. We do everything. Like, I wanted to make a real impact on these kids' lives. And I knew I was making one because some of them would open up to me about things that they wouldn't open up to some random counselor about. Like, they were talking to me like an older sister. They were talking to me like a best friend. And they were even talking to me as maybe a mother figure if their mother wasn't you know, that loving or whatever. So that job meant a lot to me. So on to the part you came for, is how it all crumbled down. So just to explain real quick, I worked at this job for a year. I got hired in November of 2016 and worked there until November of 2017. Okay? So first grade went great. That's where we built our bond. That's where we made memories. That's where we made dances. That's where we did everything that made us who we were as a group, right? So summer camp, and then I'm back to the school year with my group. So in their second grade year, I still did not have a car. I was 18 years old. I did not have a car yet. So I would walk home. You know, around the time of November, that's when the times are changing. It's dark when I get out. I would get out of there like 6 to 6:30, and I have to walk home because my mother is at work. My sister is at work. Nobody's going to give me a ride, all right? I walk home. So it would be dark when I get out. Obviously, since I walk to work and walk back from work, I have a bag, right? So in my bag, what did I have? I had a grenade. I had a gun, right? Because that's what you would think I had, right? I had this same baby right here. This right here, okay? I was acting crazy. I have to charge it. That right there. Okay? That is what I had. A taser, a pink bullshit ass taser. This would probably feel like I tickled your ass if I actually used it. You know what I mean? So this is what I had. So that's what I had, ladies and gentlemen. I had a pink small taser in my bag for my personal bag, for my own personal safety, for when I'm walking home from this job as an 18-year-old girl. You know, that's what I had. And my personal belongings, a small hand-sized pink taser. That's what I had, right? So it's not like I was like, Timmy, sit your ass down. You're not doing your homework. Like, that's what you would think I was doing to get fired, right? So let me give you the story of how I actually got fired and how I found out I was getting fired, right? Normal day of school, normal day of aftercare. I have my bag like I do every day with my pink taser that honestly I even forgot was in my bag. I forgot this pink taser was in my bag, so because I'm not thinking about it. So we are on the playground, the courts where they play basketball and stuff, and some kid goes through my bag and pulls out my taser and is like, Miss Gabby, what's this? And another kid was like, oh my God, that's a taser. And by the way, these weren't my kids. My kids would never get me in trouble. It was the ones that brought attention to it were other kids around. And then my kids heard them talking about it. So they were like, oh my God, that's a taser. And me being 18 at the time and trying to speak to them like people, instead of lying and saying it wasn't a taser and just brushing it off and putting it back in my bag, I explained it to them. I was honest with them. I was like, yes, it is a taser. I walk home. This is for protection. If you need protection, I walk home. Here I was being too smart and too mature with children to be honest with them. Sometimes I should have lied. I was 18, I was honest, right? I was kind of dumb, bro, like whatever. So I told them, yes, it's a taser, I walk home, blah, blah, blah. I thought that was the end of it, right? The next day, one of the supervisors come up to me, they're like, hey, I heard from a kid that you have a pink taser in your bag. And I was like, yeah, I do have a pink taser. I walk home. It's a very, very small taser. Like, if it's a problem, I could definitely leave it home. I'm sorry for bringing it on campus if it's a problem. It's in my personal belongings. It's in my bag. And she's like, oh, okay. And she acted so understanding about it, right? Which I do think she was understanding about it, but it's where it got escalated that actually got me fired. So she was understanding about it. And that was the end of it that day, right? So we're going into the weekend. I just had an eerie feeling that weekend. That weekend sucked. And then just to top it all off, what happens? So I was in the shower. My mom knocks on the shower door and she says, hey, there's 2 cops at the door. I'm like, excuse me? What? Did I hear you correctly, bitch? You know, I honestly already knew what it was about because I knew like this situation is gonna get blown out of proportion, right? Two freaking cops at my door. I go to the door. I'm like, hey, officer, like, can I help you? And they're like, yeah, you work at this school, right? I was like, yeah. They were like, a parent made a police report that their child told them that you had a weapon on campus, a taser. I'm like, yes, I know about this situation, officer. And I explained to them the same situation. I told them I'm an 18-year-old girl. I work at the school. I walk home. The taser was in my personal belongings. And they're like, yeah, it's just our job to be here and like get your side of the story, because if someone files a report, we have to like investigate that. So I was like, I completely understand. This is the situation, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, that was all. Like, thank you so much. Have a great night. I'm like, and I already knew. I asked them, I was like, am I going to lose my job? And they were like, honestly, we have no control of that. We don't know. I already knew. I cried that night because I already knew, like, I'm going to lose my job. So after that weekend, I walk into work that Monday and I see my supervisor, like, trying to avoid eye contact with me because this was probably an uncomfortable situation for her. But she was trying to, like, avoid eye contact with me. And then she finally said, hey, can you follow me to, the principal's office? And it was a new principal. It wasn't the principal that knew me. So this new principal doesn't know me and the children. She just knows this counselor had a taser on campus. She's fired. That's all she knew, right? So, and of course, if a parent files a police report on a counselor that had a taser and the parent still sees the counselor working there, they're going to make a big deal about it. So I got fired, in my opinion, for the word of mouth, for the image, for the look, not the true story or the understanding, but just what it looked like. You know what I mean? So they didn't really give a about my connection with these kids. They didn't care that I was actually not being like every other counselor in the building and being like, sit down, do your homework, do this, get in line. I wasn't that counselor. I would spend my own money, my little $500 checks. I would spend my own money out of that to do parties for these kids, to bring pizza, to bring chips, to bring this, to bring real things to, like, out of my money for them because I love them. You know what I mean? So them firing me was honestly the biggest mistake they made. Like, those kids were really well off with a counselor like me, someone that actually cared. But everything happens for a reason, and that's why I'm going to continue the story. So I walk into the principal's office, and I already know I'm getting fired. And they pretty much talk to me about it, like, hey, you understand, we have to let you go. And me being 18, so young and innocent, like I was like, okay, I understand. And I started crying, and then I left. So I had to I think I called my sister, and I was like, hey, I just got fired. And I'm like bawling, I'm crying my eyes out. And yeah, so I was crying my eyes out. My mom or my sister came to come pick me up.
It was actually my mom.
And I didn't have a job, didn't have my passion anymore. Everything was just taken in that one day, in that one weekend, and it sucked. But that is what, you know how when you're not going to leave a situation, life forces you to leave a situation? I wasn't making any money there. All my love for those kids, I wasn't making any money as an 18-year-old girl, turning 19, turning 20, whatever. Like, since I loved those kids so much, my plan was to stay there. Like, I was going to stay there. They were in second grade. I was going to stay there until they left the school. That's kind of ridiculous. That's, like, kind of pathetic. Like, come on now. You know what I mean? So I feel like the universe, like, forced me out of there in order to progress and grow and make a lot more money somewhere else. You know what I mean? And actually grow somewhere else. So that definitely happened for a reason. If I find the clip, because I remember taking an Instagram video the day that happened about me getting fired, and you could see how swollen my eyes were. I was crying. if I still have that video, I'm gonna insert that video right here because I'm not even ashamed. Like, I had emotions. I was an 18-year-old girl. I loved those children, and if I have a clip, I'll definitely show you. So yeah, I just got fired at my job for having a taser on me last Friday because I walk home, bitch, for my safety. Yes, I was crying. Who's hiring strippers, bitch? I don't look the best. But this is a story on how I got fired from my job over having a weapon on campus. All right, so if you enjoyed this story, if it was entertaining to you, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.